Hello, welcome to another edition of Matt's Chats. This is where we talk to people in and around the whisky industry and kind of find out a little bit more about it. I'm delighted to be here at the launch of Tobermory 25 at Berry Brothers and Rudd, the very famous wine and spirits merchant in central London. But I'm even more delighted to be joined by Brendan McCarron, who's the master distiller at Tobermory and for Burn Stewart, the bigger company. So thank you, Brendan, for taking some time to talk to me.
Thanks for having me.
Great. And firstly, can you talk a bit about, if people maybe aren't aware of Tobermory as a whisky and a distillery, or think they know a bit about it, can you just kind of tell us how you would describe Tobermory?
Yeah, so Tobermory is one of the oldest established distilleries in Scotland. So founded in 1798, it's the only distillery on the Isle of Mull, and unsurprisingly it's located in the town of Tobermory. Go figure. So it sits in the middle of a town, and again I think that's a kind of unique thing for a distillery. You know, it's part of a community and it's part of a town and has been since the 1700s. It's also tiny. So Tobermory makes less than 1 million litres of alcohol a year. It's a courtyard distillery, tiny little distillery. And you might be thinking, well, why is he saying that? What I mean is, it's in a town, it's a tiny little area, in a corner, it's never going to expand, it's never going to become the biggest whisky in the world. But what that also means is, we're never going to run the distillery 7 days a week. So we only run for 5 days, Monday through Friday.
Right.
Saturday and Sunday is for rest for the workers, but the yeast is hard at work. So Tobermory has some extremely long fermentations. So we have some that are short fermentations, are still 60 hours, which is quite long. Or over the weekend you're looking at 110, 115 hours. So big whoop, what does that mean? What it means is Tobermory, this really classy, small but perfectly formed distillery, creates when we do unpeated production, we make Tobermory spirit, and it's kind of oily but intensely fruity, incredible amount of tropical fruit in there. And it just makes a whisky that is fantastic, interesting, but especially great with age. I would say that's my 2 cents on Tobermory.
But you make another type of spirit there as well, don't you?
Yeah, so at Tobermory, although we're small and we make small amounts, we actually have incredible variety. So we just recently, about 5 years ago, we put a gin still in, a separate part of the process. So we make Tobermory gin. Our classic Tobermory gin. We also make a mountain gin. We take inspiration from the area around the distillery, but also, and probably the one that people talk most about at Tobermory, we sometimes make heavily peated whisky spirit. And the heavily peated spirit, when we do that, we call it Leitchig. Leitchig was one of the other names, a Gaelic name for the distillery. So over the years, it's kind of changed its name from Tobermory to Leitchig.
Often mispronounced.
Always mispronounced, possibly, including by myself until I got the job at the company. And a guy called Simon Proud, very politely but very firmly, taught me how to pronounce it, and I've never got it wrong ever again, because I'm scared of Simon, really.
And how did he teach you how to pronounce it?
So he took me in a corner of the courtyard and he went, without even any depth, he says, can I have a word? And I went, yeah. And he kind of meant literally a word, because he just turned to me and he went, lay chick. And he went, a chicken lays an egg, lay chick. And then he walked off and I went, okay.
It's a good way to remember it.
Yeah, it was a treat. And do you know what? People will say Lechig, Ledaig, Lodoig. They'll say all these crazy words for it. It's okay. It's not the easiest pronunciation in the world, but what it does is it makes this intensely smoky, earthy, savoury, salty, like beast of a spirit that just loves. It loves being in a cask for a tiny amount of time, frankly, because even at 2 years old when we're sampling, it tastes incredible. We make it amazing in red wine casks for Rioja Sinclair series. It's fantastic in classic bourbons, like our incredible standard 10-year-old Leitchig. Leitchig 18 just won Whisky of the Year in a blind test. Has a lot of bourbon, a little bit of Oloroso sherry. Yeah, Leitchig's just something very special. And at Tobermory, traditionally, 50% of the year we made Tobermory unpeated, 50% of the year we made Leitchig. I asked the question when I first joined, I was like, why is it 50-50? What was the and no one really had an answer. So I started thinking about it, and I went, do you know what? Tobermory needs time, it needs age, and it needs to be really looked after and made into something incredibly special, and and aged, frankly. So I've changed it, and it's about 20% of the year we'll make Tobermory, and we make it in the winter, and we make it in smaller batches. We make less batches a week, and it's just, Tobermory just needs attention and care. Any flaws in that spirit will be, ruthlessly exposed, if you like. And then when we make Leitchig, so we do it in the winter, and that just helps. And dropping one batch a week just gives us more chance to really focus and give it the attention it deserves. And then when we make Leitchig, the distillery almost just tells us that that's what it wants to make. It just loves smoky spirit, and things just run more.
Seems like a natural island thing, doesn't it?
It just works. It's kind of like child 1 and child 2 for anyone who's got kids out there. They'll know what I'm talking about. What child 1 will just do all these perfect, and child 2 is like, I'm a maniac running about the place. And I say this, and I've got one child.
So, come back to obviously why we're here today, which is the launch of the Tobermory 25. What can you tell us firstly about this, and also how you went about creating it?
Yeah. So I've said quite a lot, and people, if you ever hear me talk about Tobermory, it is a whiskey that it seems to get better, or it always becomes interesting and special with age. So our youngest whiskey we will ever do is a 12-year-old. We will not go below that anymore, and it's the 12 is the standard. But really, once it starts getting to that 20 and 25 mark, where I'll be honest with you, with other whiskies, as a whiskey drinker, I'm less interested. I tend to operate between 10 and 18-year-olds.
This is a real sweet spot for Tobermory.
Yeah, Tobermory. It is the one that I think in the kind of, interesting. Everyone's high quality, you know what I mean, but interesting, different, standout. I think this is an area where Tobermory really starts to dominate, and becomes the most interesting person at the party. So we're doing a range of Tobermorys. 2 years ago, we launched a 23-year-old one-off Tobermory, and it was spectacular and well received. But it's casks that were originally set out to be the Tobermory 15-year-old, which was an iconic, arguably the greatest Tobermory ever made. If you speak to real long-time Tobermory drinkers, they were laying down spirit that had spent 13, 14 years in bourbon, was then transferred into Gonzalez Baez, first fill Oloroso sherry butts and American oak, and then left for, it should have just only left for 1 or 2 years to become the classic 15. We have this small parcel of stock that just never was tipped, and we started sampling it 2 years ago and created the 23. Then I came on board and we launched the 24, this jammy fruity thing from last year, and then we've been waiting patiently another year, same recipe, same type of cask, just one more year in that sherry. And what's happened this year with the 25 is, it really is this spectacular range of spices and jammy fruits, but it's actually lighter than the 24. It's became a little bit more lemon oil. It's got this incredible kind of oily citrus note to it.
This is the beauty of, no one can quite explain why casks act in this way, because you would expect it to get richer and heavier,
exactly,
wouldn't you?
Yeah,
pulling more from the cask. But what sort of tasting notes would you give people on this?
Yeah, so Tobermory is always going to have this incredible balance of spirit, character and wood. It encourages a lot of wood. It really wants to sit in a cask for a long time. So you are going to get vanillas and coconuts, and you're going to get the dates and sultanas and nuttiness of dried fruits in there too. But with this one, what makes it, so that's the classic Tobermory flavours. You'll absolutely get those. But on top of that, you've got a little bit of spice. There's a hint of pepper, some sort of cracked cinnamon stick that's been dropped in there only for a short amount of time. But the biggest thing for me is the fact that it's went lighter. There's a bit of white sugar. There's grated lemon peels. There's lemon oil. I don't even know if lemon oil is a thing, but an oil that tastes like lemons. Okay.
To me, it had this sort of rich and oily character, but actually quite vibrant for something of that age. You do get some older whiskies that can be a little bit flat or a little bit woody, but I thought this was a superb whiskey, to be honest.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Brendan, for having that quick chat with me, and well done on the Tobermory 25, and I wish you every success.
Yeah. Cheers to that.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you.